Anyway, welcome to another video. Now then, I have a few things I need to quickly say. Well, one thing. I have this idea for a what if, which I know I'm going to have a fuck ton of fun. Pardon my French. But I'm going to have a butt ton of fun with it because I get to just let loose and describe horrible crimes against man. So, yeah, be waiting for that. Be expecting for that. Anyway, yeah. So let's get on with the video. So, welcome to What If Deku was the embodiment of chaos. Warhammer 40k, of course. Now then, let's get into it. The chaos deities, I'm referring to them as deities because Christian, I don't feel comfortable with calling them gods. Especially when you consider that they're basically Greek gods on steroids. If you know, you know. Anyway, yes. Chaos is losing badly. They're fighting a losing battle. So are the Tyranids. They're being pushed back by the Imperium of Man. They don't know how the Emperor did it. They don't know how the Imperium did it. All they know is that they are losing quickly. And, well, they don't really have that much time left. Now, I am drawing a blank on half of the Chaos deities' names. I know Korn, and I know Slanesh, and Nurgle. Yeah, Nurgle. I cannot remember this guy's name. But Chaos, together with the Tyranids, would come up with a plan. That plan would be they would unite in order to save themselves. The Chaos deities would put would put an aspect of themselves and their powers each into a vessel, each into a body. Each one of them putting in not only just their abilities, but their desires, their goals, their ambitions. And, of course, the Tyranids join in, adding in, well, the desire to consume, to spread. They decided that, in a poetic way, their killers would be the ones to save them. So they would have this body take the form of a human. And they would send this human to another world, another place, another time, aka the MHA universe. Now, my explanation for how quarks came along is the warp. Y'all know what that is? Collided with the physical realm. They sort of collided in with each other, thus resulting in the birth of quarks. Which makes the Tyranids overpowered as fuck. Because of their special ability, Shadow over the Warp. Or Shadow over the Void, something like that. I cannot remember. It basically means that they cancel out anyone's connection to the warp. So they're basically area effect Aizawas. They can cancel people's quarks in an area of effect. Anyway, an Inko Midoriya would be walking across the street, just returning after a long day at her hero agency, when, well, behind her in a back alley, flames would erupt, and she would hear something. Nothing human, something growling and clicking. she would walk into the alley and see a creature, a tyrannid, with a human infant strapped onto it. Now, she would have absolutely no idea what it is, or what it's doing with a human infant, but something's telling her that that thing ain't right. That thing ain't supposed to be there. So when she would ready her quirk, it wouldn't go off. This is the effect of being near a tyrannid. They cut off your connection to the warp, thus cutting off your quirk. She would not know this and just think that the thing or the baby has some kind of quirk cancellation quirk, which is why the tyrannid, or bug as she calls it, would be having it there. The creature would turn to her, clicking and growling. It would then get into a posture ready for combat and leap at her before a fireball would come streaking across the ground. This fireball would have come from her husband, Hasashi Midoriya. The creature would jump back, as Inko would quickly try and warn Hasashi, but he already got in too close. His quirk has been disabled. The creature would continue clicking and growling and screeching, ready to maul them at any moment. The human infant, well, each breath of the human infant would come out black. Well, black and green. His saliva would be pitch black, his breath would be green, as, well, just instinctively they knew to run. Run quickly, run fast. But the tyrannid would chase them into the streets. Out in public, it does not care, it just wants to eat them. It just oh, sorry. Give me a moment. Apologies. It just wants to rip into their flesh. It just wants to gorge itself. It would quickly be given a reminder that it is the only one there, and if it dies, the chaos, the vessel, Izuku, would be in a unfavorable position, and since, Izuku is currently the only one capable of making more tyrannids, that would be undesirable. Quite undesirable. As a hero by the name of Enji, aka Endeavor, would be chasing after the creature, it dodging and weaving fireballs, whilst clutching the human infant, whilst clutching Izuku, trying its damn hardest to make sure not so much as even a hair on his head gets slightly singed. Currently, this human infant is more important than it is. By a long shot, if it wants its species, the tyrannids, to survive, it needs the human infant to survive. And as Endeavor's blasting, he would quickly get a telekinetic slap in the face by Inko. She's stating that there's a human infant, there's a baby with that thing, and him firing his fireball so recklessly could end up killing the child. The tyrannid would run into the back alleys. It would run and hide as another fireball would come raining down on it, knocking the tyrannid to the ground. It's still making sure Izuku was safe. It would quickly, realizing that the humans would be unable to harm one of its own, it would undo the fanny pack type thing that it has and quickly run off into the sewers. Them taking the child, and Hasashi and Inko adopting him. Little did they know they had just adopted the one thing destined to kill everyone. So, as well Deku would age, he would have a natural knack and desire for destruction, chaos. He would love it when the world is burning, but he would also be quite conflicted inside. Because whilst, yes, he likes burning things, he also likes letting things live, letting them die slowly to toxins and poisons and diseases. He currently is feeling all of the worst traits of the chaos, the bloodlust, the overwhelming desire to infect everything you see, the just desire to learn but also bullshit everyone. This asshole, you know, in my opinion, he's the worst chaos deity to pledge to. He'll just have your arm randomly turned into a tentacle one morning. And Slanesh, I don't want to talk about her. Let's just say him and Midnight get along very well. But as he would age, Hasashi would end up dying, and Inko would remarry to Toshinori, unknowing that he was All Might until several years later. When Deku's about 4, when they go to have his quirk checked, the quirk doctor, his hair's pale, as he just stares at it, stares blankly. Tyranids, well, a pack of them, a group of them would be under the building in the sewage system, waiting and wanting to slaughter everyone in the building, just waiting for the perfect moment. When the doctor's about to open his mouth to say something, an alarm goes off, cutting him off, and before he can even react, a Tyranid would jump into the room and maul him, killing him instantly, as it would eat and eat and eat at him. Inko and, well, Toshinori would know the effect of the Tyranids at this point, and they would know their names, because one day someone would have not etched, more so written using a human's ripped off arm on a wall, naming them the Tyranids. Yeah, quite gruesome, but fitting for Warhammer. As they would quickly escape the building with Izuku, he couldn't help but feel bliss, hearing the symphony of screams and calls for help. It's enough to make a grown man cry, he would think to himself, shedding a tear of joy, Inko mistaking this for a tear of terror. But they're not out of the woodworks yet, because, well, let's just say Tyranids are not the only thing Deku can create. As well, a large man, about 7 or 8 foot, wider than a dump truck. Well, he's pretty much got the same build as All Might, in red armor, horns, and a massive gun would come along and begin to burn and kill everything. This was an attack on this district. Current heroes would be mobilized, many would die, but Deku would always find himself in the middle of the battlefield, wanting to fight, wanting to rip out their skulls and make a skull thrown out of them. But he would always be somewhere like a bunker or a helicopter, somewhere where he couldn't get his hands on the heroes and just rip them to shreds. It always would annoy him. But as he would grow, he would learn to keep up more of an act if people found out that he was responsible for, well, the Tyranids and the chaos creatures. Once again, I'm not saying demons. Christian, I will not. He would certainly be burnt at the stake. Anyway, yeah. So, the final day of middle school, the start of the anime. Deku has been pretending to be just like he was in canon. He was pretending, though. He hates everyone in his class, and no one could find out what his quirk was, so they just assumed he was quirkless. At the end of the day, when the teacher throws his papers out in the air, and Bakugo begins to torment Izuku, one of the doors would suddenly shut. As well, a large figure would be behind it. Bakugo would be grabbing Deku by the neck when he noticed this. Deku would begin to laugh, and laugh, and laugh. He would then say, finally, skulls for the skull throne, blood for the blood chalice. Well, yeah, I know the actual saying, blood for the blood deity, but I'm not gonna say it. Once again, I want to avoid using those terms in negative fashions as much as possible. So, yeah. He would then continue to laugh as his shadow would begin to dance and a large red-horned creature would emerge, holding a weapon. Well, an unknown weapon, to say the least. It would be a large great axe, one that an average human should not be able to carry. But this isn't an average human. He would look to the creature and quickly say, No, I want their quirks, remember? So, get in the Tyranids. He would snap his fingers as, before anyone could say anything, a Tyranid would jump through the window and maul the teacher, ripping him to shreds, eating his body. Fun fact, Tyranids constantly adapt through stealing DNA of individuals they kill, thus resulting in, Deku being able to steal people's quirks through eating them. He's amassed a good amount of quirks. Strength enhances, fire produces, ice produces. Hell, he can even turn parts of his body invisible if he wanted to. But he's still stuck to the scraps, because all the Tyranids carrying the good genes always get captured. But once he breaks them out, he'll have even better quirks. Many more quirks. Oh, he gets giddy just thinking about it. As well, the teacher would scream out in agony, as his screams would be silenced with a crunching sound. The Tyranid would look up, blood covering its face, then continue to eat the teacher's corpse. Bakugo would look on in horror. Deku would grab Bakugo's arm and snap it. Corn, bitches! Sorry, I was trying to make that funny. None of y'all are bitches. Y'all my lovely, lovely audience. But yeah, corn. He would break Bakugo's arm and crush it into a fine dust. Bakugo would let go of Deku as his arm would be limp and facing the ground, him unable to so much as even move it. It hurt so much. Oh, look at what we have here. All the supposed talented people are now scared, terrified, begging for their mothers. Well, don't worry. Your deaths will not be quick. They will not be painless. And at least your skulls will be going to a good cause. I'm building a skull throne and it's currently not big enough. I want it to be the size of this building. I want it to be colossal. The Tyranid would be finally fully finished with the teacher, and it would look on to one of Deku's classmates, lick its lips, and jump at him. One of the students would try and just hit him in the back of the head, try and knock him out or do something. But when he swings the chair that he had picked up and it hits Deku in the back of the head, he feels nothing. It does nothing. He just turns and says, "Oh, that's cute." As well, he would bend over in some kind of pain as the. Give me a moment. As well, the vague shape of a Tyranid emerges from Deku and rips itself out of him. And, well, it would be a fully fledged Tyranid at that point. Just a basic one. Deku hasn't quite been able to get, well, that many unique casts of Tyranids out because of the limited amount of biomass on the planet. But once he consumes, I don't know, everyone on Earth, everything, he'll be able to spread out. Most other species at this time period would be in their early to late industrial, he would think to himself. As well, the Tyranid that spawned out of him would charge out and maul more people, eat Deku's old classmates, them begging him to stop, begging for their lives. He would not hear any of it, much rather ripping out their skulls and hearts when the Tyranids were done with them. Well, as the Tyranids were feasting, those things tend to eat everything. So it's better to get out those aspects sooner than later. The only person alive that would be left in the entire school would be Bakugo and Deku. Bakugo would be traumatized at this point, unable to so much as even talk, in such disbelief that he thinks that he's just hallucinating after seeing a Tyranid. And Deku would leave. Bakugo would pass out, wake up, and he would remember what happened but not believe it. He had to have, been hallucinating or have, or, or a good grief, or Slanesh, or Slanesh fledged individual would have just played a mind trick on him. That's what he would tell the authorities. That someone impersonated the hero's telekinetic and, well, and Flame Spewer's son, a pledged individual to Slanesh would have. That's what he believes, that's what he thinks would have happened. No one can find Deku. The entire school database is wiped. Just about all the information they even had on him in the first place gone. In fact, everyone in the school would be practically forgotten in 20 or so years. Which is what Deku wants. He just wants everyone to die, be forgotten, or just have a nice time. He's really conflicted inside because of the four Chaos deities. You know, their personalities tend to clash with each other. Like, for example, this guy, wants skull thrones and everyone to battle each other. And he also believes in honor. This hoe is the exact opposite. The more heinous acts you do, the better heart you get. This guy just exists. He treats his followers as his children, which is quite nice of him. If anything, I'd pledge to Nurgle if I was forced to pick a pledging. Definitely Nurgle. And this guy, he's just more than willing to bullshit you. Like, it's either you have a nice time, he turns you into a horrific monster, or a bit of both. Like, one morning you could wake up and your leg's gonna be a gun. Just for the shits and giggles of it. He's the most likely to turn you into a blob of flesh on the floor. But yes, Deku's personality tends to conflict with himself. Because, well, all of their traits and desires, they all don't always match up. And then there's the tyrannid part of him that just wants him to eat everything. Which is extremely annoying when he's trying to get someone to pledge. Yes, people do pledge still. In case you're wondering why I haven't been so focused on the what if, my cat came along. Yeah, quite the needy little kitten. But yeah, every aspect of Izuku would be telling him, though, that the more people that he kills and pledges, the stronger he'll become. Once again, because the Chaos Deities feed off the dead. They grow stronger through the dead. So thus, they eternally get more powerful. This is what's happening with Deku. Give me a moment. Apologies, had to do something. Anyway, is it recording? Yeah. The events of what had transpired would spread quickly. Before Deku knew it, he had the hero known as Death Arms directly behind him, cracking his cracking his knuckles, ready to lay the beat down on Deku. He would say, "So you're the punk who's impersonating, my friend's, blah, 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 my friend's kid, huh? Well, you and your Slanesh loving ass are gonna go to jail." Deku would smile sadistically and say, "Oh, well, isn't that perverted?" The Thorns would blush like, "Huh, you are a follower of Slash. Wow, you really are." Anyway, Death Arms would charge at Deku. Deku would smile and laugh and block his punch with his own. As a red, sinister glow would form around him, he would get a major. They would begin to duke it out between the two of them, clashing and hitting each other, but, well, Death Arm's fate would be sealed, as when he goes in for an attack, thinking that Deku was open, it would be revealed that Deku was fainting him out, ducking under his arm, and snapping, well, punching upwards into the joint of his arm, and his said arm would break. The bone would jut out of him, causing him extreme pain, as Deku would grab him by the neck and slam him into the wall, saying, "Well, you were a nice fight for a little bit, but this is quite the kinky situation, wouldn't you agree? I mean, like, really? Most women would kill for this." He would say before ripping off Death Arm's head and, well, taking out his skull. Deku would then bend down and consume his corpse, gaining his quirk in the process. Anyway, I'm ending that off here, my lovely, lovely audience. Have things do, so sorry if it's a bit short. Anyway, goodbye, my lovely, lovely audience. Hope you have a nice one, and bye-bye.